Really? No, hey, get out of here. We'll fix that in a minute. Oh, hey, Mr. Patrick with the Dojo American Karate Centers in Cumming, Georgia. Today, we're going to talk about how to tie your karate belt. Okay, so today we're talking about one of the basics in martial arts is how to tie your belt properly. This is the first thing you should do before you step on the mat, is make sure you have your equipment, your uniform, and that your belt is tied properly around your waist. We don't want it falling off before we bow in or even just thereafter. We know that we're grappling in class and that we're doing some physical sparring and there's physical contact and it may loosen up over the course of 45 minutes to an hour, and that's fine, we get that. But we want to make sure that we're properly tied before we even start. So, step one is make sure that you have a properly sized belt. Someone like me as an adult should not have a belt that fits like this. I'm not going to be able to tie this. So if you have a belt that is too short or too long, please see your instructor to make sure that you get a properly sized belt. Okay, so now we've got a properly sized belt. And you'll notice that I'm wearing a white gi and I have a colored belt, but Mr. Patrick, that's not your belt, that's not your gi. I'm not used to seeing that. It's okay. For the sake of the video, we want to show the contrast. A black belt with a black gi, you're not going to really be able to see what I'm doing. So, let's get into how to properly tie this. Okay, so we're zoomed in on my waistline so we can see this up close. We're going to go through the 3 different styles of tying your belt. The standard or traditional, the Hollywood, and the Hollywood interlocking. Let's start with the standard or traditional way. This is the way most of our younger students, our beginner students will use to tie the belt. First thing we want to do is just fold the belt in half. Find the halfway point and stick that right in the middle of your stomach waistline there. Wrap each side around your waist and behind you, and bring them back. Make sure that the ends are even. Once they're even, you take one end of the belt and lay it on top of the other end. Crisscross them over each other just like that. Okay? Now that we're holding this, we take the top end, the end that's laying on the top, and we loop it underneath all the layers of the belts. See how that's going all the way through there? All the layers and back up. Okay, so now you should look like this. Take your bottom loop, again making sure that we're still even, so you can spin the belt a little bit if you need to. Center your knot in the front. You take the bottom end and we flip it over. So see, if it's flat like this, we're flipping the bottom over. Now you take the end that you just stuck through the back behind all the layers, put that end and cross it over top. The final step now is just to loop it through and make your knot. Now we want to pull this tight. We're going to use all of our muscles. We're going to snap this nice and tight so that our belt sits in a nice tight knot, nice and pretty. Now this again is the standard style. You'll see most of the students wearing their belts like this. If you look in the back, you're going to see that the belt is overlapping and crisscrossing in the back. And that's okay. Everyone thinks that it shouldn't look like that in the standard style. That's actually the way it's supposed to be. So that's the standard style right there. Now, for the Hollywood style, it's a little bit different. We're not finding the center of the belt and folding it in half. We're actually taking one end of the belt, we put it on our waistline, and we wrap it toward the back, maybe the middle of your back or part way around the waist. Depending on the size of the belt and the size of your waist, you'll need to adjust this, and I'll show you how to do that as we tie this style. So, for the Hollywood style, we've got the belt on our waistline. One end of it is sitting somewhere in our back, and we start wrapping the belt around on top of each layer so that it's nice and crisp and clean. Okay, so now you can't see crisscrosses of the belt. Everything is nice and layered on top of each other. They call this the Hollywood style for a reason. Some people like to have their pictures taken, or if they know they're shooting a video and they're on a demo team and they want their belt to look crisp and clean with their uniform, this is how they tie it, so it just looks a little different, maybe more professional, variety of reasons for that. So now we do the same thing we did it in the standard style, is we're pushing that top layer, we're looping that under all the layers of the belt and up just like before. But we don't have our bottom piece because it's tucked up under our back. We need to fish that out and pull it down. And now we look much like the traditional style. Okay, we take the bottom piece, we're flipping it over. You take the top piece, lay that one on top, and you push that through for your knot. We snap it tight, and your belt fits properly. Okay? Now the Hollywood interlocking style is very similar. We're still in the Hollywood wrap. We've pulled the bottom piece down. Everything is layered nice and clean. Except this time, we're going to be interlocking the belt into each other to really ensure that it's tight and it's not going to come undone. This is the way that I tie my belt every single day, and it hasn't fallen off in over 30 years now. So, we take the bottom piece first. We loop it up and we stick it in between the two layers of belt. So we're not going all the way under between the belt and the uniform. We have two layers of belt here. We stick it right in between there and just let it sit like that for a second. And we take the top piece now, loop it down and through that hole from the bottom piece, and we find the middle layers of the belt there. Again, not behind the belt, in between the belt and the uniform, between the layers of the belt. So now you've got the makings of a knot right here. We're in between the two layers and we've crisscrossed them over top of each other, and again we find the ends. We're going to pull this in and snap it really tight. Your belt should sit down, resting comfortably, right on your waistline, near your hips. We're interlocked. This belt is more than likely not going to come off.
What the?